And happy Valentine's Day to all of our farmers and all of our adoring public out there and people that are helping us make improvements on the planet. And today is really kind of an exciting day because we got a couple of other big growers on board who are going to be doing trials. And I'm not going to tell you who they are because I don't know. I think it's kind of cheesy to name drop, but let's just say that they're very large growers and they may be a part of a beverage or two that you may be enjoying. So anyway, that's about all I'm going to say about that. But today's episode, I actually wanted to show you a little bit of a history lesson for agriculture, and that really becomes, some pictures that I was going to show you. Unfortunately, my marketing specialist got sick, and then I'm kind of left out here. But really, I just want to address the concept of, if you had the option, if you were given the choice, right? You can either farm with a plow, a horse-drawn plow, or you can farm with a modern tractor, right? Which one would you choose? Okay. I'm I'm gonna allow you guys, if you want to put your answers in the comments, you can, but I think some of these should be hopefully pretty obvious. So if you were given the option of farming with an automated irrigation system or a hand pump that you had to actually go out there and spray uh, from a tank or from something like that, from a buggy or something like that, which would you choose, right? If you had the option of taking one of the modern hybrid seeds and using that, and I'm not talking about GMO necessarily, but just a modern seed that's maybe been treated or utilizing what kinds of treatments we have and the special breeding that's been happening. Would you rather use one of those seeds or a seed from maybe like 300 years ago? Which one do you think you get better results with? And lastly, let's say you were given the opportunity to use manure, just straight cow manure, or some of our modern fertilizers, right? Now, I think most people, if you've watched this show or if if been listening to these questions, would probably choose the more modern options. I'm not saying every modern technique is the best. Again, I'm not a personal fan of GMOs, but that's part of farming. I'm not going to say anything bad about that. We look at the modern version of the plow. Would you rather use a tractor or a plow? I don't think there's really anybody that would go back to using a plow now that they have the opportunity to use a tractor. And the same thing is kind of true with the crop booster by Kyminasi. Now, this is the technology we've been promoting for the last 3 years on this show and, of course, throughout the world. And we're really starting to get a lot of farmers on board with this because we're not only seeing amazing results, but we're seeing a lot of people start to really understand the concept. The concept of this is very simple. If you can increase the energy production of the plant, if you can make a plant more efficient in how it produces and utilizes energy through photosynthesis, then you're going to help that plant all of the things that you're trying to do all at once. And you're not going to have to go through and kill this, use this insecticide or use that fungicide or spray this or do that. You're not going to have to do all this running around trying to chase problems around. I think if you've been farming for any length of time, you're probably sick by now of chasing problems around, right? Wouldn't it make sense to you that you'd want to do things if you can do the same thing, if you can get the same yield or better yield? Wouldn't it make sense to do it in a way that's more modern and easier to deal with, right? Wouldn't it make sense to utilize the tractor and the machinery that we have? Some farmers are even using drones and advanced machinery, right? Wouldn't it make sense to have an irrigation system that's fully automated so you can actually control how much water you're putting in the field? Wouldn't it make sense if we had the option, if it made sense to you, to use moisture sensors in the soil and take soil tests so that you can actually see how much fertilizer you actually need, as opposed to just dumping fertilizer on and using the same amount every time, no matter what the soil is like, right? Now, precision agriculture, which has been a term that's been used for many years now to define this type of agriculture, where you're really getting precise in what inputs to use, what seeds to use, how far apart you space the seeds, all these different factors are very, very precise and they yield better results. Just like if you're baking a cake and if you know the exact recipe, your chances of duplicating what that cake or what that pastry is supposed to taste like is going to be much better, right? And if you're using modern equipment, it's going to be a lot easier. If you're baking a cake and you're having to mix flour and do everything by hand, you can achieve that result, but it may be a lot harder than if you had a nice mixer that can do all that stuff for you. So modern technology and modern advancements and innovations are always looked at first with a lot of skepticism. Well, this seems a little strange. I guarantee you, the first tractors were met with skepticism. I guarantee you, GMOs, which a lot of corn farmers and soybean farmers are using now, GMO seeds, the whole concept was completely like, you're going to do what? I mean, I'm sure it must have been looked at like this was crazy, and now 80 or 90% of the corn and soybeans we eat nowadays are all GMO foods, like it or not, right? And I think anybody looking at using manure or trying to grow 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 acres of any crop is looking at going back to using manure and saying, why would you? I mean, of course, we're not going to go back to manure, right? But that's how it's going to be in 10 to 15 years when everybody starts really finding out about the crop booster and what it really does and how much more efficient it is and how much easier it makes farming. Then, of course, people are going to look back and like, why would you farm without this? In fact, we have some of our customers that have said, have told us like, I would never want to farm without this technology. Again, now that I know what this can do and how much better my farming looks, I would never go back to the way it is. And that's how we expect you to be. So we would expect, once you see crop booster technology, that you're going to have that same reaction. Like, I can't believe I ever farmed without this. You're going to forget how hard farming used to be when you had to chase around insects and funguses and, fertility and governments and environmentalists are on your door telling you that you're using too much chemicals and all these other stuff, right? All this stuff is going to seem like a thing of the past. But here's the thing. The only way that you're actually going to know this, the only way that you're actually going to really understand this amazing technology is by seeing it for yourself. I just got off with one of our representatives in Mexico. I got off a call with him, and he was saying, on the drip irrigation where we're actually using this technology, we're seeing, I mean, on the one field where we only irrigated once out of 5 months, we're not really seeing a big difference because you only used it once. But on the drip irrigated corn, we're seeing huge differences. We're seeing, this might be 40, 50% increase in yield over control by the time it's done. I mean, it's already has a lot of really good indicators. The tomatoes that they're saying, they're counting about 15 to 20% more tomatoes on the tomatoes plants that they're using this on. They're looking to do this on a rice field, pretty soon, but they have this on watermelons, and the watermelon, it turned into a bad result. The farmer overwatered. He overwatered the whole crop, so the control crops had problems too. But because our system increased the nitrogen and water absorption by so much, like the fruit was actually cracking. It was actually way too much. So that can be a problem too. And we usually recommend farmers use less water and less fertilizer because of that, because we don't want them to over fertilize and actually ruin their crop. But generally, that's not a problem. Generally, most farmers are paying close attention and they'll back off just by observation. So it's usually not a problem. But every now and then you get that. Same thing with a wheat trial that we did, where they just kept watering, kept fertilizing, kept watering, kept fertilizing the way they always did. But our field was growing so much faster and so much taller that it actually creates a situation where the crop's bent, And we tell people you have to be a good skilled farmer, just like everything else. You have to keep your eyes on it, because if you don't see it, you're not going to believe it. In reality, what we're seeing on most farms all over the world is very good results. We see 15, 20, 50, 70% increases in yield. We see dramatic improvements on peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, strawberries, other berries, blueberries, citrus crop. We're actually going to be working with several growers here this year to help reverse citrus greening with the benefit of certain microbes and our technology together. And the list goes on and on and on. So at the end of the day, our love gift, or our Valentine's Day gift for you, or our real desire to help, is give us a try. Give this crop booster a try. You have nothing to lose. I mean, even on a 5 or 10 acre field, if you want to start small, but do something. Don't wait. Don't let it go till next year or the year after or the year after. We all like to procrastinate and put stuff off, but you're never going to be part of the future. You're never going to see the true benefits of this until you put this on your farm and see the results yourself. So take us up on our challenge. We have a farm challenge where we're going to actually challenge you to prove us wrong. So if you don't see a positive benefit from our technology, you'll get 100% money back guarantee, and you'll never hear from us again if you don't want to. At the end of the day, we haven't had a single farmer ever ask for his money back, so we're not really worried about it. We just need you to see what this amazing technology can do for you. So if you're tired of busting your butt and working 90-hour weeks and doing all the hard work and still not really making a great living, it's time to use the crop booster, and it's time to take your farm to the next level. It's time for you to become part of the future of farming today. Give us a call or send us an email today, and let's work together so that you can have a great year this year. See you later.